The food versus fuel debate heating up during that historic drought plaguing the Midwest.
Absolutely. And more corn goes to making ethanol, about 40% of the U.S. supply, than feed for livestock. But a couple of industry groups want that to be changed. And Geoff Flock has the story today out in Illinois. Geoff?
Indeed, Dagan Connell, breaking news today. The Livestock Producers Association says this morning they are going to petition the EPA to relax the renewable fuel standard. We are at an ethanol plant in Lena, Illinois, and this is what an ethanol plant looks like. And if Lori continues panning off to the left, you see that valuable corn that these plants use. Jeff Cooper with me, Renewable Fuels Association. 40%, is that what you use, 40% of the nation's corn, or do you dispute that?
Well, we use 40% on a gross basis, but if you look right down there, about a third of that comes back as animal feed that's fed to cattle, dairy, and...
In fact, that's a good point. If Lori is able to look down there, you see that stuff running out down there in the middle? That's a recycled product. So you say the livestock producers really shouldn't be as upset as they are.
Well, you know, it's unfortunate that they're taking this approach, you know, and we're not confident at all waiving the ethanol program is going to provide the type of relief on corn prices that they're expecting.
But right now we've got $8 corn, and you are in fact competing for this corn with the livestock producers. They say, you know, we're looking at the December futures now. That's an all-time record or right near it. If you relax the mandate or waived it for the moment, wouldn't that have some downward pressure on prices?
It's very, very unlikely that it's going to have much significant pressure. There was a recent study from Iowa State that said if you waive the RFS for next year, it results in about a 4.5% reduction in corn price. You know, when you're talking $8 corn, that's just much of a reduction.
And listen, by the way, to the corn running through. This is the corn chute. We're standing right up on top of it. You can hear as I talk there, the corn running through there. What does corn do to your profit margin, by the way?
Well, it certainly makes profitability tougher, and this has been a difficult operating environment for the industry this year. But we're coping, and you know, the industry has really scaled back its production by about 20% since the beginning of the year.
I was going to say they're making less ethanol, but they're still making it out here. We'll be here all day as our drought coverage continues. Today's topic, ethanol. Big breaking news.
All right, Geoff, thank you very much. Geoff Flock today from Lena, Illinois. Now to sports.
If you topped off the tank of your car this weekend, you already know relief at the pump was short-lived. The average price of a gallon of gasoline increased by nearly 10 cents in the past 2 weeks. Take a look where prices sit today versus just a month ago. And we've just gotten word that U.S. gas usage for May was the highest since June of last year. That's probably contributing to that little pop-up.
Well, obviously, yeah, with the prices that were lower. Well, speaking of filling up your car tank, the food versus fuel debate is heating up during this historic drought. More corn goes to making ethanol, about 40% of U.S. supply, than feed for livestock. But a couple of industry groups want that all changed. A lot of news breaking in this arena today, and Geoff Flock is joining us now from Lena, Illinois, with more details. Geoff.
At an ethanol plant, Cheryl, and this is what it looks like here in Lena, Illinois. But I'll tell you, the ethanol producers not too happy with the livestock producers, or at least the trade organizations today. And they say, hey, listen, you guys are off the mark. I want to take you inside where they are making distillers grain. Hey, Jeff Cooper, walk over here with me if you would. What I'm seeing right here, this is actually livestock food that is coming from the ethanol plant, right?
That's absolutely right. When you put a bushel of corn into an ethanol plant, about a third of that bushel comes back as this product that you're looking at. This is called dried distillers grains.
Now, I got to speak on behalf of the Livestock Association today, which said, hey, you need to relax the RFS mandate, the Renewable Fuel Standard mandate, because you're competing with them for this precious corn, $8 corn right now. Let's put the board up. It's up another 20 cents today, another huge rally. Is it not that you're helping drive the price up this way?
Well, certainly anytime you put demand on a commodity, it's going to have an impact on the price. But what's important to remember is waiving the RFS isn't going to have the type of impact on corn prices that they're expecting.
How much would it reduce?
You know, there's a study out of Iowa State just last week that said about a 4.5% reduction. So that's certainly not the, you know, maybe a 25, 30 cent reduction. That's not the type of relief they're seeking.
If we put the chart up, though, as we watch this being loaded, I'll tell you, corn has just had an incredible run. How are you dealing as an ethanol producer with $8 corn?
Well, first of all, you've seen the industry really ratchet back on production. The industry has scaled back by about 20%.
So you're making less ethanol.
Right,
gotcha.
we're making less ethanol. But the other thing to remember is this feed product is very important to the producer's bottom line.
feed for cattle right back here behind us out of an ethanol plant. Two sides to every story,
There
guys.
is, certainly, but I have to say it's going to be interesting to hear what those poultry producers in particular have to say about this this mandate. Great story, great stuff. Geoff Flock, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Really
Cheryl.
going against the grain there. Okay.
The food versus fuel debate is heating up, excuse the pun, during this historic drought. More corn goes to making ethanol, about 40% of U.S. supply, in fact, than feed for livestock. But the livestock industry, well, they want it changed. Geoff Flock joins us from an ethanol plant in Lena, Illinois with the story. Geoff?
Indeed, Laura, heating up out here indeed. Look at this plant behind me. It's an ethanol plant. They are under fire today. Why? Because according to the livestock producers, they're competing with them for precious corn. Take a look at the price of corn now. It's still rallying yet again today, up on over another 20+ cents today. They say if you ended the mandate to blend ethanol into gasoline, there'd be less competition. It would reduce corn prices. Ethanol industry telling Fox Business, no, it wouldn't.
It would marginally reduce grain prices, yes, but what you'd see on the other side is an increase in fuel prices. And I don't think, consumers are necessarily fond of the idea of paying more for their gasoline at this time.
You are looking now live at a byproduct of ethanol. This is the other thing they tout. You talk about food for cattle and pigs and the poultry industry. Well, this is something called wet distillers grain. This is a byproduct of ethanol. They sell this actually back to cattlemen. A lot of the ones we've talked to said actually they rely on this as a source of food. It's actually cheaper than buying the corn themselves. Take a look, though, one other thing, the other point that the ethanol producers make, ethanol futures. Ethanol futures on the CME right now trading for about $2.60 a gallon. They say ethanol prices are much cheaper than gasoline. You end that mandate, fuel prices go up. Two sides to every story, Lori.
Indeed, and we appreciate the tour. Geoff Flock there from an ethanol farm. Thanks so much.